All right, so we're diving headfirst into a pretty intense philosophical duel, and it all goes down in this strange place called Aethelgard. You've got one guy who believes reality itself can be bent and shaped by pure force of will. And on the other side, a mad king who just laughs and calls that entire idea a lie. This isn't just some abstract debate, folks. This is a battle for the very nature of existence. Let's get into it.
And boom, right out of the gate, we get this absolute bombshell from one of our main players, Wotan, the Mad Rune King. He is throwing down a serious challenge to the very idea of a stable, structured world. For him, order isn't strength, it's a delusion, the final, pathetic lie of a humanity that's lost its nerve.
So that begs the question, right? Who are these cosmic combatants? We have these two incredibly powerful figures locked in a struggle that's way more than just words. It's about the fundamental fabric of what is real. And to really get what their war is about, we need to break it all down. And here's our roadmap for doing just that. We'll kick things off with the duel itself, set the scene. Then we'll dig into the architect's grip on reality and contrast that with the Mad King's chaotic laughter. From there, we'll see how this all boils down to a choice, to be or to explode. And finally, we'll figure out what any of this has to do with becoming something called an overman. Okay, first things first, let's set the stage. This clash of wills isn't happening on some ordinary battlefield. The setting itself, this weird etheric fog, is actually a key player in their whole metaphysical showdown. So on one side, we have Der Wille, also known as the Baron of Nothingness. He represents imposed order, structure, and the absolute power of the individual mind to shape the world. And facing him, Wotan, the Mad Rune King, who is the embodiment of chaos, of ancient primal wisdom, and all the raw, untamed forces of the universe. And they meet right here, in the etheric fog of Aethelgard. Now, this isn't really a physical place, so much as a conceptual space where reality itself is completely up for grabs. Wotan's arrival, which is signaled by this violet rupture in the fog, is a direct assault on the very foundations of Dervilla's ordered world. So let's really unpack Dervilla's whole philosophy. How does this guy see the world? Well, for him, it all comes down to the power of the individual mind to act as the architect of everything. This quote pretty much tells you everything you need to know about his certainty. He calls himself this synthesis. He's the force of order, the dam holding back this tide of pure chaos that he calls becoming. He genuinely believes his conscious will is the only thing keeping reality from just dissolving into nothing. And this right here is his main weapon, the Fichtean grip. Think of it as a mental superpower. It's this ability to take anything outside of you, the not I, and through sheer cognitive force, absorb it, redefine it, and make it part of your I. You see, you don't just understand the world, you dominate it by making it an extension of yourself. And this quote just perfectly illustrates that idea. It's pure existential mastery. I mean, a huge, immovable object like a monolith. To him, it's not an obstacle. It literally becomes an extension of his body, his arm. The terrifying existential void, he domesticates it, turns it into something as boring as a porch. He just imposes his I on absolutely everything.
And the Fichtean grip isn't his only toy. His whole arsenal is wild. He's got a Kantian edge to slice and dice reality into concepts he can control, a Schopenhauerian shroud that protects him from cosmic despair, and he's even made an alliance with a being named Donner to tear down old, rigid power structures. Every single tool he has is designed for one thing, to actively build his own reality.
Okay, so now for the counter-argument. Wotan sees all this control, all this careful architecture, and he just laughs. He doesn't see strength, he sees a profound, fragile weakness, a lie that Dervilla is desperately telling himself. And there it is. Wotan calls this all-powerful Fichtean grip a paper shield. He's arguing that there's a deeper, more elemental force out there, this violent grammar of the stars, and no amount of intellectual gymnastics can ever hope to control it. Wotan's power, you see, comes from a completely different well. He calls it schizo knowledge. So if Der Wille's whole deal is about imposing structure on reality, Wotan's is about embracing its fundamental lack of structure. It's a direct, raw, unfiltered perception of the universe's chaotic truth, a kind of wisdom you can only get by staring straight into the abyss and not flinching.
And this, right here, gets to the absolute heart of their disagreement. They both recognize this raw, blind will that drives all of existence. But here's the split. Derville's entire project is to chain it, to subjugate it with his intellect. Wotan says, no way. The only path forward is to dance with it, to embrace its purest, most untamed form. It really is control versus surrender.
So this huge difference in philosophy leads them to two totally incompatible ways of existing. One is all about maintaining a stable, solid sense of self, and the other, it's about constant, violent, radical transformation. This line from Wotan is it's the core of his entire critique. He's accusing Derville of desperately clinging to a static state of being, a fixed, rigid self. But Wotan's ideal is to explode, to completely shatter that identity over and over again and become something new. Now, to really drive his point home, Wotan uses this powerful metaphor of the three metamorphoses. He sees their Wille as the camel, just weighed down by duty and tradition. His ally, Donar, is the lion. He's strong enough to break old rules, but he isn't truly free yet. Wotan's ideal, his goal, is the child, a true creator who doesn't just break laws but joyfully plays with them, inventing new values as he goes. Now, what's so fascinating about all this is that they're both aiming for the same thing. They both want to reach this higher state of being they call the Overman. But, as you've probably guessed, their ways of getting there could not be more different. So, Derville literally sees himself as the bridge. He believes he has to be this strong, stable, absolutely unbreakable path for humanity to cross over to this higher state. His path is all about endurance, responsibility, and control. He cannot break, because if he does, everything falls with him. Wotan's vision? It's a completely different world. He believes the ancient primal forces of the universe, these gods. They don't want a master to tame them. They're looking for a dance partner. For him, the path to the Overman isn't about control. It's about learning to move with the chaos. And this all brings us to the climax of their duel. It's not a punch, it's not a spell, it's a final prophecy from Wotan that basically sets the stage for the entire next chapter of their conflict. And that is Wotan's final chilling challenge. What happens when their Wille's absolute Ich, this all-powerful will that absorbs everything, finally runs into a world that refuses to be absorbed? What happens when reality itself finally learns how to say no? That is the ultimate test, and it's still to come. And that's what it all leaves us with, right? This central question. When the universe finally pushes back, is it better to be the unyielding bridge that refuses to break? Or is real power found in letting go and learning the steps to a completely new dance? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining this explainer.